Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. Have you ever heard of the Carcano Type I? Some say it's the best Carcano ever made. But what is the Carcano Type I? The Type I stands for Italian, but it looks more like a Japanese rifle. And that's because it was bought and used by the Japanese Imperial Forces during World War II. So let's go take a look at what this Type I is actually capable of and what the difference is between this rifle and the Type 38 Japanese Arisaka and the Italian Carcano M1891. All right, the first thing we have to do here is take a look at some of the history behind the Carcano Type I. In 1937, Japan, Italy, and Germany signed the Anti-Comintern Pact, which essentially was there to strengthen political relations and trade between those nations. Now, Japan, who was already making conquests in China, was in need of small arms. And so they went to Italy and they said, hey, we'd like to get some Type 38 style rifles from you guys. So Italy drew up some prototypes. It would pretty much be a almost exact copy of a Arisaka rifle, except for the action. The action was of a Carcano. Now we take a closer look here at the Type 38 Japanese rifle and the Carcano M1891. You'll see that the Type I is kind of like a merge between the two rifles. Now the Type I has a lot of different features taken from the Type 38. You'll notice that the buttstock area is a split stock, and that was essentially there to strengthen that area of the wood. Not only that, but if for some reason that back portion was damaged, you could conserve wood by just replacing that toe or messed up portion of that butt area with a small piece of wood and not have to use a bigger piece of wood to replace that stock. Now you'll see this on the Type 38, and it was really not just a practice that the Japanese used, but you'll notice on Gewehr 98s towards the end of World War I that the Germans were actually doing this as well. Unlike the Carcano M1891, which uses a Mannlicher style magazine and can take 6-round en-bloc clips, the Type 38 and the Type I can just be fed using stripper clips. All right, so the magazine and the trigger well, that is more or less based off the Arisaka. The magazine is it holds 5 rounds staggered, so there's a stripper clip guide on the top of the Type I. Now the bolt in the Type I and the action is pretty much a Carcano M1891 action. The difference here is the bolt face, the extractor groove, is slightly offset, slightly different than a standard Carcano bolt. The Type I action is slightly different because it has protrusions on the sides to help keep the cartridges loaded in the internal 5-round magazine. Now, interestingly enough, somebody on one of the Facebook groups or forums posted a photo of what looks like an attempt to take a standard Carcano M38 and turn it into a Type I. It's kind of a weird conversion. Now, remember what we talked about, the Type I's have that groove or that protrusion there to help keep the rounds in the magazine. This person that did this conversion did not probably know about that, and so this was a failed conversion. It looks like the new owner posted those photos and he was kind of surprised at this failed attempt. But if somebody out there knows what they're doing metalwork wise, they might be able to make it work. The sight here is more or less Arisaka style ladder sight. Another thing here is that the Carcano Type I did not have a chrysanthemum or mum, which is a symbol of the Japanese emperor. Domestically produced Japanese rifles had the mum, but the Italian-produced Carcano did not. Now, the front sight here is unprotected. On the Type 38, it's a protected sight. It has a bayonet lug, which means it could hold the Type 30 bayonet. So Tourney, Gardone Valtrompia, FNA Brescia, and Beretta would all take part in the production of the Type I Carcano. Now, some sources say 120 to 130,000 of these rifles could have been produced because of the serial number ranges Some other sources say that only 60,000 were produced. Now, there are a few sources online where you can gather some information about the Carcano Type I, its design and development history. I recommend you check out Grand Guy 2553's YouTube channel. He did a Carcano Type I in-depth video about its design and development. So go check him out. Well, let's take these rifles to the range and see how they do. All right, this is a Carcano M1891, and this is an M-block clip loaded with 6 rounds. Let's see how she does. This is the Japanese Type 38 rifle. You can load it with a 5-round stripper clip, which I've already done. Right on, right on. Shout out to Cobra 49 for that Carcano ammo. The ammo that I was using was actually 268 size bullet, which is the proper size load for a Carcano. Now, if you want some more Carcano history, go check out Cobra 49's channel. What about combat use? A lot of collectors are disinterested in the rifle because they say that because the Navy had the majority of them, that they didn't see combat. Well, that's a misconception because the Japanese Imperial Navy also had an infantry, kind of like the US Marines. Now, the Japanese Imperial Infantry was involved in battles in the Kwajalein Atoll, the Philippines, and some other areas around Japan and the Japanese islands. Now, Japan considered these rifles, the Type I, secondary to the Type 38 and the Type 99s. Some secondary army units would get them. If I remember correctly, there were some that were surrendered over from Japanese held areas in China. But yes, a lot of these are found in today's collector market in pretty good condition, and that is because a lot of them were surrendered over during the end of the war. They were in warehouses still, waiting to get shipped to units. So a lot of US service members brought them over as war trophies after the Japanese surrendered. So a lot of them were not used. Now, a good friend of mine, his father served in World War II, and he has a story on how he got this Type I Carcano in his time in Guam. My friend's father, Maynard, saw most of World War II from the depths of the Pacific Ocean. He was a sailor aboard a submarine. At some point in time, during the end of the war, the submarine made port in Guam. There, the crew would take advantage of being on land by doing outdoor activities such as playing baseball. On one occasion, while Maynard was running from second to third base, a shot rang out and he heard a pop by his head. He had taken sniper fire from a nearby jungle. A squad of Marines quickly moved into the jungle from where the shot came from. Moments later, the Marines came out of the jungle holding a Type I Carcano rifle, signifying that they eliminated the threat. Maynard approached the Marine thanking him for the deed, but then asked the Marine how much he wanted for the rifle. The Marine just said he wanted $50, and Maynard agreed. While stateside, Maynard wanted to use the Type I for deer hunting. He had the rifle converted to a sporter and harvested quite a few deer with it over the years. My friend is currently the curator of this piece of history. So, overall, I think the Type I is one of the better Carcanos out there, probably one of the best developments of the Carcano. What would have actually happened if the Italians said, wait a minute, let's stop using these M-block clips in this Mannlicher style magazine. Let's go with a Mauser style magazine. like pretty much everybody else out there during World War II. Would that have changed anything about the Carcanos? Whether it be rifle development for their own troops in World War II or even the modern day collector market? Would there be more enthusiasm for Carcanos if they had a Mauser style magazine? Let me know in the comment section. And if you haven't already, be sure to pulverize that like button and subscribe for the algorithms. It really helps out with the channel, appreciate it. And as I always say, be sure to learn history and curate history. Make it a great day.